Assalamu alaikum all of you. Today we are going to study about the flowcharts. That what are the flowcharts, why are we creating the flowcharts, and what are the symbols actually for the flowcharts. Now, in the previous videos we have studied about the PDLC, that's a program development life cycle, or you may generally call it as software development life cycle as well. But when it comes to the flowchart, so we just studied over there in the PDLC or the SDLC that is, or the flowcharts are actually the part of design phase. Now flowcharts, as it is mentioned right over here, that they are the diagrammatical representation. Diagrammatical means that if you're going to represent any sort of the data, it might be any program, it might be any data, you are going to represent that with the help of the diagrams. Why you're going to represent that with the help of the diagrams? Just because of the reason that when it comes to the data or the explanation of the data, so the easiest way to explain any sort of the data is with the help of the diagrams. That is the reason that flowchart is the first, or you may say the key term for the design phase. As over here, diagrammatically, or you may say diagrammatically, you are going to represent your data to a person. So as mentioned over here, diagrammatical representation of the program is termed as a flowchart. Now we do have few of the diagrams. Now what sort of diagrams, what type of the symbols are we going to utilize when it comes to the flowchart? So we do have different types of the symbols for representing the flowcharts. So we do have a oval shape that is representing the start or the end. We do have a process box that may contain any sort of the declaration, initialization, or any sort of the process. So it may contain any of these things. Okay, then we have the input output. That means if you're going to take anything from the user, or you're going to display anything towards the user, so that will be represented in this parallelogram. Then we have a diamond shape, this sort of the shape. You may call it as the rhombus shape as well, a diamond shape as well, that is utilized to check the conditions. Now conditions could be with the if conditions as well, or you may say switch case as well. Now we will be obviously dealing with these type of the conditions. That what are these conditions, we will be dealing with them all. So these are the types, or this is the thing that what is the decision box utilized for. Then we do have the flow lines. Now what do I mean by the flow lines? So flow lines are something that actually represents from where to where your program is gonna flow. So that will be indicating the flow of the program, or that will be indicating or representing that from which part to which part your program is gonna flow. Now always do remember that when it comes to the flow charts, so flow charts are basically, or a program, not a flow chart, sorry, program is basically of three phases, or three categories actually, you might say, not phases. It is of the sequential, it is the selection, and it is the iteration. Now when it comes to the sequential, so sequential means that you are following the step by step instructions, and finally then you are doing that. Like for example, I do say that you guys have crossed your class 1, then class 2, class 3, and so on, and now you are in your O levels, or in your AS levels, or in your A2 levels, and then you will be moving ahead. So that is the sequential part. But when it comes to the selection part, so selection is something that you're going to choose. Like when you came to the O levels, or when you came to the A levels, you had the options that either you will be going for the sciences, either you will be going for the journal group, okay, either you will be going for the commerce. So you were having the choices. Now these choices, out of these choices, you need to choose that you need to go this way or that way. So when it comes right in a moment, that selection is something that you are going to choose out, that which way you really need to go. Either you need to go this way, or either you need to go that way, but you need to put up the condition over there. What sort of the condition will be applied, that will be giving you a particular option for going this way or that way. So you need to decide that condition, or you need to construct that condition over here, and this is known as the selection. Iteration or looping, that means repetition of a certain task is actually known as iteration or looping. Now when it comes to the iteration or looping, so over here we will be doing two different types of the repetitions, or two different types of the looping. That will be either the conditional, or that will be the unconditional. That will be either conditional, or that will be either unconditional sort of the looping. So we will be doing two different categories of the looping. Now, okay, one more thing, unconditional. When I talk about unconditional, so unconditional actually refers to as the count control. Now, what do I mean by the count control? Count control actually refer to as a terminology that if I do say that I am given with the number of the times, given with number of the times, that this much number of the times you need to execute the program, this much number of the times you need to execute this process. So if I'm provided with the number of the times, that means I am doing count control looping, or you may say unconditional looping. Unconditional looping. But when it comes to the conditional looping, so conditional means that you are provided with any of the condition. Like for example, you need to execute the program until the value is 0. You need to execute the program until and unless 3 characters are done. You need to execute the program until you find the first gap in the string, or that means in the sentence. So these are the conditions. So until the conditions are given to you, if the conditions are sorry are given to you, so that means you are doing the conditional looping. If the number of the times are given to you, that means you are doing the count control looping. Now in the next video, what are we going to do? We will be studying about the flow chart for the sequential, then selection, and then iteration, one by one each, and usually marked with one more thing, please. When you're going to have your final programs, so actually the final programs will be actually the combination of your sequential, it will be the combination of your selection, and it will be the combination of your iteration or looping as well. They will be the combination of either three of them, either two of them. That don't won't you won't be getting a small program that will be only the part of the sequential thing. No, it's not like that. Okay, so first of all, we will be doing one by one individually each of them. Yes, apart from this flowchart, we will be learning about the pseudocode of this thing, that how are you gonna mention this similar flowchart into your pseudocode. So you must be aware about the pseudocode syntax as well at the meantime, and you must be aware about the flowchart, that how are you going to construct the flowchart for the given scenarios. So see you in the next session.